Okay guys, so it is YAMA's release today, and I thought I would do a little bit of a talk through of some of our kills. We have done quite a few kills today, and our strat is pretty good, and I thought I'd go through some little tips and tricks and bits and bobs that might be useful for you as well. So first up, the Purging Staff is very good indeed. The Dark Demon Bane spell is incredible here. Would highly recommend maging. If you don't have this staff, then the Blue Moon Spear can work as an okay substitute, but really this staff is the bee's knees. It's amazing. Other than that, we have a little melee swap. It can be any melee weapon, ideally Fortic, ideally Emberlight, and then if you want to, you can optionally max out your strength bonus, which will make one section a bit faster, but other than that, it doesn't really matter. You can even punch if you want to, but let's begin. Obviously very important, we need food, potions, and antidote is very important here as well. So starting off, these northern circles, if they're purple, you pray mage, if they're orange, you pray range. And then as soon as the boss goes all swirly, you step into the circle, and then you switch your prayer to the other one. That's basically how it goes at the start there, because those circles, they give you a buff for a few seconds, which lets you absorb the boss's big special attack. And if you don't successfully activate a circle, then you'll be hit from 40 to 80 damage. It's very painful. So that was the mage spec there. So only one of you can activate the circles at a time, and there is a nice little grace period, so you don't accidentally double activate. And one person activating works for both. Sometimes you'll get waves coming across. Just think of their tile as being a little bit in front of where they are, and then just basically run through them. And then you got these circles, these spheres that come up sometimes, and what you can do for those is you can attack them once and then use the Purging Staff spec, and then they will die. And here we have some stepping stones. We're jumping across with a little hop, skip, and a jump. And this is where you've got to alternate your attacks, like one magic and then one melee, then one magic, one melee. And the more like strength bonus you have, like strength pot, strength bonus, everything there, all of that ties in to how quickly you can phase this part. There is a little bit of chip damage that happens just while you're up here, so technically the quicker you are, the better, but honestly it's not that much. You can literally come here with just an Emberlight and it works just fine. It'll just take like one more cycle of attacks, but it really doesn't matter. And then when we come back out, we essentially have the same thing again, like these circles will turn to a color. So because I accidentally stood on one here, that's okay. It's not the end of the world, but it does mean that Adam's his circle now. He needs to be in charge of going on it because I misclicked. So essentially, because these circles are purple, it means we have to pray magic. And the big thing as well, I forgot to mention, this Mark of Darkness, very important. It basically doubles your damage. It is huge. So make sure you are using that at all times. Very important. And there's a little swirly attack for that one, and then as soon as that happens, we switch our prayers again. So we're by the orange circle now, so we're praying range. And then same again, wait for the boss to go all swirly, and then you can avoid the big attack from him as well. There are fire waves across the screen, but you want to make sure that you are kind of close to the circles if you need to. You may have seen Adams there had a big meteor in his head, and that is the attack we have to be on the circle for. Or at least you have to activate it in the last few seconds. And then now that we're at the purple circle, we are now praying mage again. Nice little wave skip there as usual. And then yeah, depending on damage, you could get more waves, you could get more orb things, but you know, with this setup, with the Purging Staff, it seems more than fine. And what you can do on the hopping stones as well is you can actually attack after, I think 4 hops it was, might have been 5. Just try it, you'll work it out. Kill the demon with the old alternating melee and mage, and then this is the crazy part. So for the final 30% HP, things get a little bit different, and there are 2 things that can happen here. One thing happens a lot if you stand melee distance. So if you're meleeing, basically it will spawn those sphery orb things around the arena a lot, which you can technically go and like Purging Staff spec, like each one, and it does technically work. Honestly, that is way harder, and I would not recommend meleeing whatsoever. Bad things happen if you melee, very bad things happen. Like, you just got overwhelmed. However, what happens if you're not melee is these big fireballs come down, There are 3 sets of them. They look very scary. They're actually not. So essentially, if you see, you know, we've got like a west to east fireball. If we go north a little bit, we will be fine. So you want to basically go perpendicular to all of the fireballs that spawn. So north or south both work completely fine. And you have to be a little bit careful during this though, because you do take either a mage or a range attack at the same time, which can be a bit scary. So yeah, first one, straight line, north or south. Second one, diagonal, so you've got to go diagonal as well in one of the directions. So going up there is fine as well. And then the third one, once again, is, well, not once again, but you know, is this way, so you just step to the side. It looks a lot more complicated than it is. Once you kind of get the hang of it, it really is quite simple. But the annoying part during this is the attack that he's doing on you is really hard to see. So I did have some troubles with that. So that was a range hit that he just did, so we were luckily praying the right thing without having to think about it. But he can do some little flames around you, and that is the mage attack, so do watch out for that. And then basically it's the same thing, and after every attack that he does, he then alternates. So it's like one range, one mage, one range, one mage. It could be in the opposite order, remember, so just don't get complacent with that. There may be a way to tell which he's going to start with without having to look at the animation, which is really hard to see with everything else going on. But basically, if you take a lot of damage, you are probably on the wrong prayer. If you take a little bit of damage, you are probably on the right one. But either way, if that does happen, just switch your prayers for the next attack, and you should be fine. So once again, vertical line, we go to the side, diagonal line, we go diagonal, and then the sideways line, we can go the other way as well. Perfect. Tricky bit now, though, is while all of this is happening, all the waves start coming as well, and you've got to be a little bit careful not to trap yourself, because if you take too long to cross one of the waves, you can get a bit overwhelmed, and you kind of have like 2 in near sequence. So I'd recommend trying to cross one of the waves fairly early to then give yourself, you know, another wave to cross later instead of both in quick succession. What happened to me here was pretty fine, but I've definitely had situations where it has not been fine. So like if I was, you know, down in that corner, that would be a bit of a problem, having to like dart one way and dart another. But either way, so yeah, again, while this is happening, we have to switch our prayers. So there's a little range hit, that shadowy thing, and then I've got to switch to mage, and it's basically that over and over, while dodging all the fireballs, and then happy days. And this part can get a little bit scary, actually, because what can happen is if your DPS is too slow, which did happen a few times with the Purging Staff, those waves go crazy. Like, it can spawn an absolute ton of them. So basically, if you have worse gear, you are rather tremendously punished. Like, it is survivable, but yeah, this guy can spawn a lot of waves. Like, just these 2 here, no, he can do like 4 at once, and it is really tough. So if that does happen, then good luck, basically. But it is survivable, it's all dodgeable. Just the big thing is, yeah, just remembering to switch those prayers after every attack that you get, which are quite hard to see. But overall, guys, hopefully that helped. Some people get their first kills. I'm sure there are a lot of guides floating around right now. Maybe I said something that wasn't in some other ones, I don't know. But either way, hopefully, you know, something I've said has resonated with you guys, and you can get your first YAMA kills as well, because initially it is quite overwhelming, but once you get the hang of it, it does start to become a little bit second nature, and doing this in duo is highly recommended. I can't stress that enough. Like, solo is hard. Duo, pretty chill, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, that'll be it for this one. Hopefully you are enjoying YAMA, and hopefully this video helps. And I will see you all again real soon. Good luck in your grinds.